Well, I do have to say, highlight of season 1 of the Pit Stop Pals. It's probably that intro song, man. I love that intro song the entire time. Gage, what's up, buddy?
I'm trying to get that as my ringtone. Like
It's great.
once we hit a certain amount of subscribers and downloads,
Yeah.
Dusty, for this, we'll
Yeah.
that'll be my ringtone, I think.
We'll get that done. Look, so what is this? What is this hardware you've got there on the episode today, Gage?
What are you talking? Oh, this thing?
This massive trophy next to your head?
Yeah. So the inaugural season of the AM Nasty F1 Fantasy League. I dominated. I hate to say it. I really, from wire to wire. This is how Max Verstappen feels most races, I think, and just coasts through. I did some little tinkering that maybe I shouldn't have done with my team at some point, but no, very successful year. And I gotta say, Dusty, masterful job, because you were I think I would maybe I don't know, AlphaTauri at some point in the year, but I think he kind of moved up to more of an Alpine and McLaren by the end with a couple key mega token moves there.
Big time couple mega tokens, yeah, because did I finish third?
Third, you did, yeah.
That's a nice finish, buddy. I was pretty happy with that finish, considering the way things started. So, yeah, you buy into your guys, and you have faith in them, and good things happen. And Matthew Owanek from TSN 1260 finished in second, and he's been bitching and whining that there's no prize after you got the trophy for first.
There'll be a prize for Matthew Owanek. Don't worry.
I say
Matthew.
The first year of a league, the guy who is second buys the second place prize and then moves it on, right? You've won. You got the trophy. I finished third. I'll find something for third. And then that's what moves on, right?
Yeah, that we could do something like that. That would be good. I'm going to get some little, for every year, we're going to get some little plaques to put on this thing. So a name and you get it for the year. And then we'll start doing this, and possibly have a banquet at the Ice House. I think is
Canadian
could
Ice
be a
House
sponsor of this soon. So I'm looking forward to a well-deserved off season.
I think that's a great idea. Congratulations on all of your success. It is the final episode of season 1 officially, but when news happens and news breaks, watch the Pit Stop Pals podcast feed, mostly because Gage and I got to talk about it with somebody. So we might as well record it and get some content out of it. Abu Dhabi, Gage, what's a big takeaway from this one for you?
The biggest takeaway is I think Mercedes getting back into it a little bit this year. If you look at from where the season started to where it ended, I think they have to be really happy. Ferrari definitely missed opportunity for them this season. Should have done better. It shouldn't have come down to to them battling with other people for the constructors. I don't think they should have been up there with Red Bull all season long. So and it's funny, one of the main things that I saw was Aston Martin kind of moving back up into, like, Vettel had a tough year finishing Q3 most qualifyings, and the last few races seeing that car do a little bit better, and seeing we got a Canadian on that team. We got to cheer for a Canadian here. So we'll get to it, but Alonso already giving his input into the car for next year.
Well, and we will get into that. And let's dive into our Pit Stop Pals Podium, brought to you by Mobile One and Mr. Lube. And hey, a huge shout out to Mobile One and Mr. Lube for hopping on board with us this year, providing us with some pricing and the hats and the gift certificates to Mr. Lube. Hopefully we can have them back next season as well, because Mobile One doesn't just keep your vehicle running, it keeps your engine running like new, and you can get your Mobile One synthetic oil change done at Mr. Lube. Go get an oil change, same day tire service, no appointment at Mr. Lube. And, as we get to our final podium of the year here, Sebastian Vettel, one last time, seemed like emotional. They had all 20 guys together at that dinner, and Max was buried in the back, and everybody else is all together. Sebastian Vettel looked like he was having a great time. Danny Ricciardo was smiling like he's always smiling as well. I'm glad I got to enjoy the tail end of Vettel's career, buddy.
Yeah, no, we're, again, infancy of our F1 broadcasting careers. But no, just to see the admiration and how everyone talked about Vettel, and I've gone back and actually I've watched some of his races, and it's funny reading about him because it seemed like no one liked him because he just won everything. Like no one could match him over those championship years, and so yeah, it was funny to hear Lewis Hamilton talk at one of the last press conferences that I don't think he's gone. I mean, we might see him back here, maybe not in a car, but maybe on the pit wall with a team or in some capacity that way. But outstanding career for Sebastian Vettel, and it was nice to see him kind of battling and finish with the points. I was upset because they kind of got the strategy wrong with the last race, going to the one stop and barely getting by, and without actually Lewis kind of having some mechanical issues, he doesn't finish in the points. But cool little thing at the end, got to do donuts, and awesome career. It was cool just to be able to see that live.
And it will be one of those things I would like to, when I find time, and I don't have a lot of time to find, but I would like to go back and kind of dive into his prime, just to kind of, well, has there been a documentary or anything on like Sebastian Vettel along the way?
Vettel.
Like,
no, there will be, I'm sure. Like,
I was going to say there will be, right? I look forward to watching that. Yeah.
He's one of the all-time greats, right?
Yeah.
Like he has to be considered in that. Just he was dominated for such a long period of time. So, I mean, and now we have essentially Max kind of doing the same thing. So it's definitely a kind of a passing of the torch with dominant drivers. But I don't know. It's funny going into this season, Dusty. I was very optimistic just because of reading about the cars, but now next year I'm even more excited for next season.
You are, hey?
Yeah, I feel like the amount of overtaking this year, like all the purists say it was a great year for racing. Like it was battling, guys could follow, guys could pass. That's
what the car was supposed to do this year, right? So
it performed exactly like they wanted it to. So that's the most encouraging thing, that we're going to see these battles throughout the whole year, where, you know, I enjoyed watching the battles of McLaren and Alpine and even all the way down through the lineups and seeing these passing and overtaking. So it's way more enjoyable for the fan. I think now that they have a little bit more idea of what to do with these cars and little things that they can tinker, I'm excited for I think it's March 3rd is the first race, so it's a little bit earlier.
Well, that's not that far away.
It's
really,
not too bad. It's not
just
too
over
bad.
3 months. So that's not too bad, actually.
Well, like February, I think there'll be some testing that we can talk about. So yeah, we got to get right back on that horse.
You know, as far as the racing goes, I can't remember which race it was, and I think it was a little bit further down the field. But remember that one? They were 5 wide. It was like 5 wide. It was insane. You're just like, man, what is happening? Like it was great. You know, there was a lot of moments like that this year.
Well, Dusty, you know what we do with the two guys, and we have kind of, I think, probably maybe in a few weeks, let's put together our top 10 moments of the year. And
okay, that's not bad. I like that idea.
Let's do that, and because I've got one in my head that I think was the greatest call of the season, like when
through goes Hamilton goes through, or whatever it was. Yeah.
I don't know who doesn't get goosebumps when that happened.
Well, as a play-by-play guy, man, when he dropped that, I was just like, like I love a good call. Like, God,
was awesome.
Just gets into it.
Awesome. So
yeah, God, that was good. That's something we can do. We can also do an episode just straight up on each of our top 5 storylines heading into next year, right? Like as we transition to next season. So there's a bunch of content we can certainly bang out in the off season here are the Pit Stop Pals. So if you're watching on Twitter tonight, subscribe to the podcast. Just search the Pit Stop Pals on all of your podcasting platforms. Second spot on the Mobile One Mr. Lube podium. I guess let's go to who finished second in the overall standings. Charles Leclerc just getting by Checo, second in this race as well, Gager. It was nice that Ferrari managed to salvage something after such a shitty second half of the season.
Yeah, those last 3 races, they seem to get some of their ducks in a row and been able to finish where they should have been. You know, that a little bit, they got the strategy correct. there weren't as many issues with the car. And then Charles driving perfectly on those old tires. And that was probably the best point of the race, was Checo chasing him down at the end. And without traffic, I was kind of getting upset with the traffic at one point, because I think without traffic, definitely he would have caught him by that last lap, and we would have had a kind of a repeat from the year prior, just two different drivers battling for that second position. So, but you have to say, Leclerc, great job of I think it started at 9 seconds. It whittled its way down to about a second and a half. But yeah, good for Ferrari. I think, I mean, it's disappointing. You could see the disappointment in their faces. You know, they wanted to finish second, but just a completely, again, just a missed opportunity for them this year. And we'll probably have to have an episode soon with, because we've heard rumblings with Mattia Binotto. Is he going to be back or not? Right? So I think that there has to be, doesn't there, Dusty?
There has to be a change. Changes? Yeah, it's like, as a team, well, first of all, they shot themselves in the foot so many times, but as a team, it looked like they regressed during the season, right? So maybe that was because Mercedes kind of picked it up a little bit. But yeah, I would think there has to be a change there. You kind of be crazy to run it back again. So we're going to take a look at, a few other things I want to get to. Third spot on the podium, though, Gager. Let's just take a look at the final standings from a constructor's perspective when it's all said and done. Red Bull ended up running away with it. We thought at the beginning of the season that Ferrari might be able to push them, and it looked like they were going to. In the end, Red Bull 759 points, Ferrari 554. Mercedes, after a slow start, crept up 515, almost caught Ferrari. Then it was Alpine at 173, so they edged out McLaren. A disappointing season for McLaren. I think you'd probably be happy with the season if you're Alpine. And then Alfa Romeo was in 6th, Aston Martin in 7th, Haas in 8th, AlphaTauri in 9th, and Williams in 10th. Gazer, is there anything that kind of stands out to you from the way things finished this year?
You know, if you really go back and look at Alfa Romeo, and I thought they were going to be a little bit of a dark horse this year from where they started and how Bottas started the season.
Like in the McLaren and Alpine kind of conversation?
Yeah. I thought they were going to move up a little bit more, and then they had some DNFs and some reliability issues there. I was excited because at the beginning I thought that was the most beautiful car. I thought it looked the best. But yeah, and then you look at, I mean, where Aston Martin was at the beginning and how they've moved up. I'm very curious to see what they can bring to next season as well. We the Strolls will definitely be putting some more money into that car, so we'll see. But I think just with the wind tunnel time and the fines that Red Bull had, that's going to affect them, I think, a little bit this summer. I was reading some stuff, and they're going to not have as much time in the wind tunnel. Mercedes, now that they didn't finish second, and finish third in the constructors, they're going to have a little bit more time to iron things out. And Toto Wolff was funny because he said he's taking both those cars and putting them in the reception at Mercedes HQ.
They'll be back in, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, they're always going to be reminded of this and how hard it can be. So pretty cool thing from Toto to say. And yeah, that's it's exciting. I can't wait. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
I don't know how you're going to do it either, buddy. I'm telling you, man, get the chair, get the video game, get the wheel, and just dive into it, dude. You will love it. You will love that.
But
I'll be wearing
a full suit.
I'll do it for you. I'll get it for you for Christmas. Like, just tell me you want it. We'll make this happen. Like, it's your Mobile One, Mr. Lube, Pit Stop Pals Podium, brought to you by our wonderful partners in Mobile One and Mr. Lube. And we'll have trivia coming up here in just a second as well. We'll get to testing in a little bit as well, but the numbers came out here over the last couple of days on the salary that everybody made when it was all said and done. Max Verstappen at the top, $44 million in salary, plus $20 million in bonuses. Lewis Hamilton, no bonuses, but straight up $55 million in salary. Fernando Alonso, no bonuses, but he made $30 million in salary. So It was, I mean, from a salary perspective, Lewis was at 55, Max was at 40, hit the $20 million bonus. And then it was Alonso at 30. Nobody else is over 15. So Fernando Alonso still riding it out there at 30 mil. And then you get to the other guys, they're all around 12 million, $11 million bonus for Leclerc. I think Checo, 10 million, but a $16 million bonus with the season he had, Gager. But especially, I mean, all of them made a pretty good chunk of change, but the guys at the top, like Fernando Alonso hauling in 30 mil on a salary this year. Are you kidding me? He's got to love that.
But then I'm just thinking about that. I think he really earned that, Dusty, because he was phenomenal this year. And if not for that car breaking down and certain things happened to him, I don't know. I think in the driver's standings, he would have been way further up without the things that were out of his control. It was funny listening to his helmet cam at the end, because it was like, I can't wait for this to be over and get to my new team. And we'll go right into testing. He was the first guy on pit road, getting his input into the car and just subtle little changes already. He said he's got to, of course, redo the seat and stuff, but I think there was a steering issue that he thought he was worried about, and that they had the same problem with Alpine at the beginning of the year, but to his surprise, he didn't find that at all. So that was really encouraging, not having to kind of have to tinker with that moving into next season. So, and what I did watch the Alonso documentary on Prime. It's really good. But he's really involved with the making of the car. So, and I think that's another kind of intangible thing that you have with Alonso that Aston Martin are really looking forward to.
You could make a case for Alonso, and it's not even making the case for it. He was better this year with Alpine than he had been for the last 4 or 5 years. If you look at his numbers, because you brought it up, so I just wanted to break it down quickly. According to my count, he had 5 races in which he had to retire. He had 3 races in which he finished outside the top 10, and then 14 that he finished inside the top 10. So, yeah, that was a pretty good year. You take out those 5 retirements, buddy, and he might be up 2 or 3 spots higher and finish 6th or 7th, or probably 7th in the overall standings.
Well, I'd like to look and see where he was
when he had to retire.
Place was when he had to retire, because usually he was up, between that, I would say 8 and 4 kind of range, right? Like a lot of times when he had to retire. So yeah, just he was great, and that's why I had him for a lot of the. He didn't get me a lot of points on my team, but he was just driving so well. I felt guilty if I didn't put him on my fantasy team, because there was always a possibility.
Daniel Ricciardo will be putting on the same clothing that we're wearing right now and officially going back as the 3rd driver. I mentioned it on my radio show this week. I got a lot of time for Max Verstappen getting injured and Danny Ricciardo taking over the number 1 car at Red Bull and winning a title next year, Gager. That would be something else.
Well, yeah, I want to see the practice times and see if he's ahead of Checo here in a little bit. And we know how the season ended, right? With the teammates at Red Bull. So it was, I think they said it's all gone and under the rug, but I think there's still something there with Checo. I mean,
that doesn't go away in the offseason, man. Like, that your guy is never willing to help you. It's as simple as that. Like,
yeah. And this is, I believe Checo's got 1 more year, correct? And that's his contract. So at the end of next year, depending on how the year goes, and if there's any sort of, it'll be interesting to see if they say to swap places again and Max doesn't. I could see Checo saying, you know what, this isn't for me anymore, and seeing Ricciardo back at Red Bull again and happy to be there. I'd like that. But geez,
Checo's got 2 years left. Remember, he signed that extension through 2024 back this summer. So he's got 1 year.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, 1 more year on top of it.
One year after this. So
yeah, but there's always ways around this stuff. So
and there's been I hate Elon Musk for these unverified F1 people, because they're saying how Checo said he can be released from his contract right now, and I'm like, what? and I got to research some guy that's just full of
just
it.
spending hours on fake verified accounts. You poor bastard.
Terrible,
Oh boy.
so.
Yeah. So that'll be fun though. I mean, it's something we'll take. And I'll get to trivia, but very quickly, Gager, testing. I mean, you've already kind of been monitoring that a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, Alonso's testing out the car. Gasly in the Alpine checking things out. It's funny because they have to take off all the advertisement because they're still under contract with their previous team
from the
and so
previous year.
Yeah. So you see the cars just down to how they look without everything on it. So
that's weird.
It looks cool. It's really weird. Really, really weird. So by all accounts, testing went really good with all the new drivers in their new teams. And I mean, cool. We'll have a Logan Sargent with Williams too, which is kind of neat to have an American driver. We'll probably see a lot more advertisement from
that's true.
the U.S. He'll be able to pump him up a lot. But the big thing is Ricardo. I think I'm glad he's still in F1. Dusty, there's still a chance. Guys get sick. We've seen it with a few racers here. It'd be nice to see him back in a car that he's kind of familiar with too, right?
I'd have time seeing him race 1 or 2 races next year in a Red Bull to see how it goes. I think that'd be really fun. That'd be good.
That'd be great.
All right, let's wrap up this episode with trivia. It actually is a Daniel Ricciardo question. Slide into my DMs on Twitter at NielsenTSN1260 with the correct answer. You go into a draw for one of our Mobile One racing hats and a gift certificate from Mr. Lube, valued at up to $137.98 for a premium synthetic oil change package. How many Formula One career victories does Daniel Ricciardo have? If he never gets another one, how many Formula One victories does Danny Rick have? Slide in my DMs with that correct answer, and we will get you into the draw. And like I said, we're kind of wrapping up season 1 of the Pit Stop Palace here, but that doesn't mean we won't have a few episodes in the off season as well. Overall, bigger picture stuff, storylines heading into next season. As Gager said, maybe our top 5 or 10 favorite moments from this past season as well. Through goes Hamilton. That'd be good. Gager, fun season, buddy. Congratulations on the victory in the AM Nasty F1 League, and thank you for running the league. I don't know if there's any sketchy commiss shit going on, but I trust you, and I know you wanted it, and you got the job done.
This isn't FIFA, buddy.
See you later, man.